We're going to talk about brushes. Our brushes are going to be our main oil painting tool, and primarily we're going to be working with bristle brushes. And even within that family, there are a lot of choices. So I'm going to talk about each individual brush style that I use that I might recommend. The main brush that I use is a filbert. And the other thing that I want to say about brushes is you want to be using the largest brush that you can stand to be using. So probably nothing smaller than, say, a number 6. I would say this one is a number 9. It's pretty large. So a filbert this is again a bristle brush. It's hog's hair, and they're really sturdy bristles. With good care, you'll be able to keep these brushes for years and years, a lifetime really. But they do take a little bit of care. So the filbert they have long bristles and a rounded edge, rounded tip, and it's got a little flat part at the edge too. So with this filbert, you can do just about anything that you're going to want to do as an oil painter. These are great. So you're going to want a couple of these. Then there are basically the flat. So flat has a long bristles and a flat edge. I like these too. I have a lot of flats. Then there is the bright. Now a bright is just essentially like a flat. The bristles are just a little bit shorter. You see, the length of the bristle is a little bit shorter, and so these are really good. They hold a lot of paint. So do the flats and the filberts. All three of these hold lots of paint, which is one thing that you're going to be interested in. The bright is really good for scumbling and some techniques a little bit better than a flat. So you might want a couple of these as well. And then we have the fan style. Now I have a couple of these. I rarely use them, but you might want them. They're really nice for really soft blended edges. And if you have a certain kind of technique, these might be useful for you. Then we'll go to the round. Now the round is the oldest style of brush. Oil painters back in the 16th century mostly had rounds. So they're useful especially for drawing kind of strokes. So you might want a couple of these. Now I have these, but I don't really use them too much. Even for drawing, I'll head to my filbert or my flat for drawing. But these are out there. So I wouldn't say they're an essential tool. This isn't really essential, and neither is the bright. So what's essential? To me, the flats and the filberts are essential tools. So if you're only wanting to invest in a couple of styles of brushes, I would head to these guys. Now let's talk about a couple other things. A tiny little brush. The reason I have a tiny little brush is for one purpose only, and that is to sign my paintings. It's the only reason I have it. It's not for the actual painting. Okay, so you might want one of these. All right, let's now talk about palette knives. All right, there's a couple different styles out there. Actually, there's many styles. This is the one that I like to use for mixing. It's actually considered a palette knife for painting. This style of knife is considered a mixing knife, but I actually mix with this one as well as paint with it. So couple of choices out there. So you're going to want, again, if you're trying to be really economical, I would say that this one is the one to get. All right. So let's talk about synthetic brushes. So there are a lot of these out there. They're inexpensive. You can get these relatively cheap. And you might want a couple of these for some glazing techniques and for softening edges. But again, not essential tool, at least to begin with. They don't hold as much paint as the bristle brushes do. So again, it's another thing that's out there for you to check out. Okay, that's the skinny on brushes, and there's so much information out there, but hopefully that's kind of helpful. All right. Okay, now we're going to talk about some essential materials just to get you going for oil painting. There's lots of things out there, oils and additives, quickeners, dryers, all of that. We're just talking about what you need just to get going. And the main ingredient here is a product called Gamsol. Now, Gamsol is odorless mineral spirits. It's what you're going to use to both thin your paint, and you're going to use it to clean your brushes a little bit. There's a little bit of a process there in cleaning your brushes, but this is an essential product. Now, also along with that is this other product called Terpenoid Natural. Terpenoid Natural is really for conditioning and cleaning your brushes. Now, I've seen some students sometimes bring this to workshops or classes that they're using it to mix with their paint, and that's not what this product is. So don't confuse these two products. You're going to want both, but this one is for mixing, and this one is just for cleaning and conditioning your brushes. All right. Now, there's a couple other things that are just you can get right at the grocery store that you're going to want. These Viva paper towels. There's something about these Vivas that are really great for wiping off your brushes and cleaning your hands as well. So they're a little bit more expensive, but I would get these Viva paper towels. Now, a friend of mine turned me on to this a few years ago, baby oil. This is a perfect thing for you to clean your hands with. It's not toxic, it smells good, and it's super cheap. So baby oil is really good. I get the little containers and I bring that in my backpack when I'm plein air painting. So baby oil. Then rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol is a great product. You can put it down on your palette to clean up dried paint. If you put this on dried oil paint, it makes it really easy to scrape off your palette. So you're going to want this as well. All right, lastly in this little grouping is this little pad of brush cleaner. So you're going to want some of this brush cleaner because you're going to want a couple of steps. The first step is you're going to rinse your brushes with the Gamsol. Then you're going to clean them and condition them with the Terpenoid Natural. And the last step is you're going to clean them with this stuff, and then you're going to set them out to dry. You're going to take really good care of your brushes, right? Okay. Okay, you're going to need a palette, something to mix your paint on. There's a lot of choices out there for that as well. I love the pochade style box, and my pochade box has a piece of glass that I had cut to size, and I put light gray paint on the back side of the glass just with spray paint, and then I had it, I just took some silicone and sealed it into the box. So that's a little bit of a chore, but well worth the effort of having done that. There are many other much easier choices. You can buy lots of, there's tons of different styles of palettes out there. I have never been a big fan of it, but I know a lot of artists that use this kind of thing. The other thing that you can use is kind of a homemade version. Something like this will serve just as well as this guy. So, you might even have one of these laying around, right? The other thing that you can use is their paper palettes. I have a friend who uses a sturdy piece of cardboard and puts wax paper on it, and he uses that for his palette. So there's all kinds of things that you can use without having to spend a whole lot of money. I also, in my studio, have a big piece of glass that I put on a tabletop, and it's a thick piece of glass with the edges are softened. So I love that. I can mix a lot of paint on these, and I have a couple of those. So tons of options in terms of palettes. Okay, you're going to need a container for your mineral spirits, and there's several options out there. I have this nice little container with the lid that's perfect for plein air painting, and it's got a little hook that I can hook that onto my palette. So this is really useful. A little pricey, so you don't have to go this route to start out with. You know, you can just stick with some ball jars with lids, and that's perfectly good option just to start out with. So there's that. And then of course, because I have so many different things that I'm working on, this is a large container, and this is really holds a lot of mineral spirits and cleans out a lot of brushes, and it's good for large, working really large. So I have this as well. Okay, there are a couple other things that you're going to want to have. You're going to want to have a scraper with a razor blade. Just go to the hardware store and get a couple of these. And then the other thing that I really like to have is I like to have some nice heavy-duty containers to put my brushes in, because when you clean them, you want to stand them on the end and let them dry out like so. You don't want to lay them down. So these are just canisters that I've gotten from Goodwill. They don't need to have the lid, so you can get the ones that are really cheap. And I have a bunch of these in my studio. So the nice thing about canisters, they're heavy. They're usually made of heavy glass, and they have nice wide openings for lots of brushes. Okay, all of that being said, there is no need to have all of that stuff. So I just put together kind of the minimum of what you need. So paper towels, a palette, a couple of brushes, palette knife, a ball jar, and Gamsol.